We now move to news from Europe, where Heathrow Airport in London shut down after a massive fire at a nearby electrical station. The fire caused by a power outage affecting flights scheduled worldwide. Around 70 firefighters responded to the blaze, which knocked out Heathrow's power and backup systems. The fire brought huge flames and black smoke, and 150 people were evacuated from nearby buildings. Heathrow expected over 1,300 flights and 291,000 passengers today, but the airport will remain closed until midnight. Many flights were diverted to other airports, and some long-haul flights returned to their origin. Energy Minister Ed Milliban called the fire catastrophic and said engineers were trying to deploy a third backup system. He said the cause of the fire was still unknown. Flight experts predict more disruption with many planes out of position. At least 120 flights were diverted early this morning. The situation is expected to cause chaos in flight schedules across the globe. Let's listen to what some of the affected passengers had to say.
Yeah, it's tough. It's obviously a Friday, so still tomorrow, hopefully. It'll just take me an extra day to get back to my wife and my daughter, and they're probably wishing I would get home already, but I think I'll take the day. I don't know, maybe I'll do something, maybe I'll go explore somewhere.
Me, my wife and kids are there. Not for me, delay. And don't flight, what time the flight?
We are once again joined by Joshua Barnes, correspondent, for further discussions on this. We are actually getting live visuals right now of the fire department attempting to contain the fire. We actually have a news update saying that the fire has been contained by London Fire Brigade Assistant Commissioner Paul Goulbourne, who lauded firefighters for bringing this fire under control, but obviously those are still waning in people's other travel schedules. This is in a substation, which obviously is a very dangerous place for these fires. I want to read a statement out from the London Fire Brigade Assistant Pat Goulbourne. This has been very visible and significant incident, and our firefighters worked tirelessly in challenging conditions to bring this fire under control. So yes, we can see if this fire has been contained, and we will now move to our reporter Joshua Barnes, who is anchor and correspondent for NewsX World. Joshua, Heathrow Airport, one of the busiest airports in the world, the busiest in Europe. What can you tell me about of even one day of closure of this airport?
Yes, absolutely. The ramifications are huge, not just for those people travelling and the disruptions, but also for the airlines and the wider economy. Of course, as you mentioned, the fire has been contained, but there is a chance that this might go on past the midnight deadline that was set by Heathrow to get everything up and running. One day, however, one day of flights being stopped is catastrophic. It's not happened for 15 years that Heathrow has been closed completely, and the impacts are huge. So you have people that, of course, are travelling on holiday, and the impact on them, of course, will still be there. Flights that were taking off, then having to be rerouted, returning, chaos for those travellers. Of course, people might be on a holiday and returning to work. So the impacts are, of course, there, but the wider impacts of the economy. Since this has happened, we have seen airlines across the world losing value, their shares dropping by 1, 2, 3%. Heathrow really is a hub for air travel. It is the largest European airport, and it's the second busiest airport in the world. So the number of flights going in, you mentioned already, we're looking at over 1,300 flights that are going to be disrupted today. It doesn't mean they all will be cancelled, they might be rerouted, but then you've got the wider implications of travel as well. We know that the trains that connect to Heathrow have also suffered, which impacts other networks as well. So it really is difficult for those living in England who are travelling in and around the area, but also for those globally.
Joshua, we have some updates about this fire at this substation affecting the nearby community as well as this. What can you tell me about that?
Yes, absolutely. Nearly 5,000 homes without power, which in itself is huge. Of course, the fire is now contained, but the damage and the impact of that will be felt. The ripple effect from that will be felt, whether it's out or not, for hours, weeks, potentially, depending on the impacts. But we know that there are backup generators. You mentioned there Ed Milliban, the Energy Secretary. He said that both of the backup generators are out and they're trying to get a third working, but the impact on locals is massive. The police cordon in place around the fire as well led to evacuations for those living in the immediate vicinity. I think once the fire is put out completely, it's then about an investigation as to how this happened and make sure it can't happen again. We don't know yet what the cause is. A full investigation will take place, but devastating in the short term, at least for those living around Heathrow Airport.
Joshua Barnes.